London session is where most traders get chopped up. Well, I pulled $1,000 out of it this morning. I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. What's good, everyone? It's Nix, and this was a trade that I took on my London session lives. Super clean, no guessing, just execution. But now I'm going to go break down what I saw, why I entered, and exactly how this setup played out. So let's just jump right into it. So like I said, guys, we're going straight into this breakdown. I'm going to go from the top down. And what I mean by the top down is I'm going to go from the highest time frame down to my lower time frames where I actually executed on this setup. So we're going to use the replay tool just to get a little bit of a better visual before I enter this trade. As you can see on the 4-hour time frame, we were bearish, right? The reason I'd say we were bearish was because, one, we had this downtrend prior to where we were looking. We saw a pullback and we saw a continuation back down. Price did attempt to break these highs here, but it didn't. Price, again, kind of just wicked it, treated it as liquidity, and that's why I could have assumed that price was going to keep going down. But that wasn't the only higher time frame confluence. If we go down to the hourly, we do see that price in some way, shape, or form did break these highs. I know the 4-hour gave us a little bit of a different story, but even then, that doesn't necessarily matter because now we can just play this hourly leg. And even just playing this hourly leg, we can always assume when price does break structure, and in this case on the hourly it did, we're always going to see a pullback, right? So as you can see on the lower time frames, or not even the lower time frames yet, we can see from an hourly standpoint, price did start trending lower, right? And yes, we did get into a discount pricing of this bullish leg, but keep in mind, the 4-hour did look overall bearish. So even with that understanding, we could assume that price will most likely continue down. And if it didn't, again, that's fine, we'll take a loss. But granted, we did take a loss because we executed perfectly. So going back into it, we can go down to the 30-minute, maybe in the 15-minute, and just get a better visual. That internal structure was still bearish. So obviously I'm going to continue to trade with that internal structure because, again, that is key. Trading with the trend is key. Yes, in some way, shape, or form, we are counter trend based off the hourly bullish leg here, but that's fine because the 4-hour tells us a different narrative. And then again, even if we were trading within this bullish leg, we're going to pull back as far down into here before we end up going higher. So seeing that and seeing that all this imbalance was still sitting down here on the hourly, I knew that I could confidently shoot at this trade with the probabilities in my favor. And that's exactly what we did. So to go down to the lower time frames to actually find the exact execution, I enter on the 5-minute, okay? But we'll look at the 15-minute one more time, just again to see the internal bearish structure where we sold off, had a pullback, and what can we infer is going to happen next? Obviously, that continuation of that sell-off into this weak low. That's just how trading works. It's a back and forth game. But again, we are bearish. So going down to the entry time frame, which is the 5-minute, I now waited for some type of liquidity sweep and to see what structure was looking like from a 5-minute standpoint. Again, remember, we were bearish from a 15-minute standpoint. This was our bearish leg, this was the pullback, and again, we expected it to continue. But not only that, on the bearish leg, we also see that price started taking and making these new internal structural lows. With that being said, we can kind of assume that, one, that we can see that the 15-minute was bearish, and two, the 5-minute is now making these structural breaks, giving us the idea that it's going to continue bearish and the sellers are in control. So as you can see, we'll delete that. We're just waiting for now, one, a liquidity sweep, and two, a confirmation at London Open. The reason I wait for London Open is because I mainly trade with volume. And when we have that London Open at 12 a.m. PST, we do see that volume. So we can go and play it out a little bit. We see price end up coming up momentarily right before London Open, about 30 minutes before, tapping this order block, which I didn't necessarily pay attention to because, again, structure is still in my favor. And we ultimately took a lot of these highs here, where we had a lot of early sellers try to enter the market. And again, what will price do before it takes off? It will take liquidity, right? Super simple. So as you can see, we then started to wait. London did open right here at 12. And I entered exactly at that time. The reason I entered at that time is because I saw price on the lower time frames, or at least within fractal structure, make these new higher highs here. And with this new higher high, if price would have continued bullish, it would not have passed this low and would have continued higher into the bullish direction. But it didn't, okay? And that's where I got my entry from. I entered at a break of this low. Stops, of course, were at these highs, and my first target was 1-to-1. First target, 1-to-1, right there. So as we can see, we did start playing out into our favor momentarily, and then we sat in drawdown for a little bit, which is fine because, again, even if we would have lost on this trade, we did everything correct. We had a very good analysis and we entered with confidence, but that isn't the case here. Price just needed to come back a little bit deeper within this new bearish leg, before that sell-off continued to happen. And that's exactly what it did. It continued to sell off. it hit my first take profit. And at my first take profit, I always take out half of my position. The reason I take out half of my position is because I want to make sure that I'm paying myself, because again, nothing's promised in trading. It's not promised to continue to sell off. Therefore, price could have hit 101 and just came back up. But also with my 101 strategy, or not necessarily strategy, but my management system, I also moved to break even. So at this point, we already took profits. We already moved to break even. And we can expect price to, again, go into our next take profit, which is a 1 to 2. That is my ultimate goal, is to see price go into that 1 to 2 with my partials still holding on. And that's exactly what it did. Hit 1 to 2 exactly, and then it did end up coming back up for a pullback, which again, at this point, I was already out of the trade. I already made up my money. Didn't really need anything more than that. Even if we would have held in here, we would have been taken out at break even. But again, that's not what happened. We got in, we got out, super simple. But again, going back over it real quick, again, it's about higher time frame analysis and identifying that we could have sold deeper within this hourly leg because of this imbalance sitting down here. Also going to the 4 hour, we could assume that based off this reaction on the 4 hour, that 1 minute break of structure wasn't a real break of structure. Even though it showed it to be on the hourly, the 4 hour reacted completely different, almost taking this liquidity, and we could assume that price was going to continue with this swing bearish trend. Going back down to lower time frames, the 15 minute still stayed internally bearish, where we did get our main bias from. I'm not saying the hourly wasn't our main bias. Obviously, that was a very important bias and analysis to have. But the 15 minute and it still being bearish really gave us the idea that we were most likely going to continue bearish into these lows. Exactly what we did, okay? And going back down to the 5 minute, again, super simple. Liquidity sweep, break of these strong lows, stops at a structural high, and then we target that 1 to 2. Super simple, guys. Honestly, I could not ask for a cleaner setup than this. And this wasn't the only setup we caught this week. We caught another amazing setup this week, which I will make another video on because it was a beautiful textbook setup. And this is what I do every single London session. I look to identify higher time frame analysis, or my bias from a higher time frame standpoint. I go down to lower time frames to see if it aligns with that higher time frame bias, and I execute based off what I see on the 5 minute. Are we taking liquidity, and are we still trending with volume into the direction that I expect price to go? Couldn't ask for anything cleaner, guys. But with that being said, let's go back to the main camera because I want to talk about the giveaway winner and the giveaway that's also within this video. So I'll see you guys on the main camera. So like I said, beautiful trade, guys, beautiful execution. And I did this all on live stream. So I wasn't the only one who made money on this trade. There was a bunch of other people who entered this trade with me and made money with me, guys. That's the beauty of live streaming and being able to actually show you guys and be transparent with why I'm entering, how I'm entering, and ultimately helping you guys within your trading journeys. Guys, I'm live every single night. You can go down to the description. You can find the link to my Discord, to my Telegram. That also, I will send the link to the live streams within those communities. But let's get into this giveaway, guys, because again, if you do not remember, every single video that I do, I have a giveaway. All you have to do is like, comment, and subscribe, and I pick one of the comments every single video to win a free 100K funded account. So the winner of this video is, let me look on the screen, Luxy T9Z. So I'm gonna pop you up right here, Luxy. You won the account. So all you have to do is contact me on Discord, Telegram, Instagram. Any way there is to contact me. There's quite a bit of ways to contact me. So go ahead and contact me. Again, just because you didn't win this video doesn't mean you can't win in the next video, or actually this video that I'm making right now. All you have to do is like, comment, subscribe. Once again, you get entered into the giveaway. And if you guys want to see more of these London session breakdowns, comment London down below. That'll 1, enter you into the giveaway, and 2, it'll tell me to continue to make these breakdown videos on my London session trades because we've been absolutely killing it this year. All of them on live, fully transparent. You guys see my entry, see when I enter, see when I exit, and that's what I love about live streaming. With that being said, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.